the hushed corridors of high schools and dark corners of the internet, whispers of Carmen Winstead's name bring a chilling shudder to those who know her story. Carmen was just 16 when her life ended in one of the cruelest ways imaginable, a life stolen by her so-called friends and left to fester in the shadows of a sewer drain. One cold gray afternoon, Carmen's classmates cornered her by an old sewer. Teasing turned into shoving, and a sudden push sent her tumbling into the darkness below. The fall was brutal. She landed neck first on the cold, damp concrete, her final scream swallowed by the depths of the sewer. Her friends, faces pale with shock, ran, never confessing what they'd done. They claimed it was an accident, just a prank gone wrong. But the truth was much darker. Now, they say Carmen's spirit wanders, restless and vengeful, seeking justice for the betrayal she suffered. Those who receive her story in a chain message are warned. If you don't spread this tale, Carmen will come for you, and many who ignore the warning pay a terrible price. There are chilling accounts of those who laughed off the message, only to be found later with twisted necks, faces frozen in terror. Just like Carmen's last moments, some claim to have seen her, a shadowy figure lurking in the dim glow of streetlights, her eyes wide, cold and empty, staring as if from beyond the grave. Others swear they've heard her whisper, a faint ghostly voice saying, "I'm still here." So, when you read Carmen Winstead's story, remember, she is waiting, somewhere beyond the veil, for those who ignore her tale. And if you choose not to share it, don't be surprised if you hear a soft whisper in the dead of night, or feel icy fingers brush your neck, reminding you that Carmen has never really left.
In the dark corners of Fairfax County, Virginia, lurks a tale so twisted it leaves a chill, even in the bravest hearts. The legend of the Bunny Man is whispered in hushed tones, a haunting memory of the night he first appeared, a figure in a ragged, filthy rabbit costume, eyes blazing with madness, clutching an axe. It began in 1970, on a cold October night. A young couple parked their car near an old bridge, hoping for a quiet moment alone. Suddenly, they heard a scraping sound, metal dragging against stone, then a bone-chilling voice snarling, "Get off my land." In the dim light, they saw him, the Bunny Man. He lifted his axe high, and with a swift, furious swing, shattered their windshield. Shrieking, the couple sped off, but the image of the crazed man, fur-matted with dirt and blood, etched itself into their minds. Since that night, stories have spread, each one more horrifying than the last. Some say he's the ghost of an escaped asylum patient who hides in the woods, haunting the county in search of revenge. Others claim he's a restless spirit, doomed to stalk the shadows forever, fueled by a rage he can't control. They say that if you dare to visit the bridge at midnight, you might hear the sound of his axe scraping the ground, his ghostly form lingering in the shadows, waiting for another soul to claim. People swear they've seen him, his silhouette under the moonlight, his eyes gleaming from the depths of the forest. is certain. Once you see the bunny man, you'll never forget the sight of his axe, the echo of his growl, or the terror that will haunt your dreams. The tale of Anastasia Romanov's survival is whispered in the dark corners of history, a chilling story of a young duchess who slipped through the fingers of death the night her family was brutally executed in 1918. They say that as gunfire echoed through the cold, damp basement amidst the smoke and screams, Anastasia disappeared. She vanished into the shadows, leaving behind only confusion and a mystery that would haunt the world for decades. Sightings of a girl, fragile, with piercing blue eyes that seemed to carry the weight of unimaginable horrors, began to surface. She moved like a ghost across Europe, seen in train stations and dark alleys, always fleeing, always hiding. Her whispers told of betrayal, of tunnels under the palace, of guards who pitied her just long enough for her to escape. The people who found her swore that she spoke of things only a Romanov could know. Her voice haunted, her eyes empty as if staring into a past too dark to remember. But there was something wrong about those who claimed to be Anastasia. A darkness clung to them, a hint of madness behind their eyes, as though they had brought back something sinister from that night of blood and bullets. People wanted to believe, even as unease grew. Was it really her, or something pretending, something that had slipped through the cracks that night? The truth came out in 2007. Anastasia had never escaped. Her remains had lain hidden, separate from her family, but very much among the dead. Yet the legend persists, a ghostly reminder of a girl who for many will always be running, forever lost, forever trying to escape the horrors that claimed her family.
In the dense, mist-laden forests of North America, an unsettling figure roams, Bigfoot, or as the natives call him, Sasquatch. Towering at nearly 8 feet tall, this monstrous ape-like creature lurks in the shadows, a spectre of nature's wildest secrets. For centuries, stories of his terrifying encounters have spread, each tale more harrowing than the last. Hunters, campers, and wanderers alike speak of colossal footprints embedded in the earth, prints so massive no human could leave them. The chilling evidence, cast in mud and shadow, hints at something far beyond human. But Bigfoot isn't just a rumour in these parts. On cold, silent nights, the forest transforms. The usual hum of wildlife fades, replaced
by an eerie silence, as though the trees themselves are holding their breath. Then, through the darkness, comes a low, guttural howl, a sound so deep and raw it seems to pierce through the soul, the unmistakable call of Sasquatch. His presence is felt before he's ever seen, a heavy, brooding shadow in the night, stalking, watching, waiting. Those unlucky enough to catch a glimpse report a creature cloaked in thick, matted fur, eyes glinting with a primal intelligence, yet filled with an unsettling, almost human understanding. His hulking frame moves with unnerving agility, slipping between trees like a ghost, his piercing gaze locking with his prey before vanishing into the underbrush. As he disappears, a foul, musky odour lingers, a reminder that Bigfoot was there, a silent warning for anyone daring enough to tread deeper. Some say he's a guardian of the wilderness, others a harbinger of doom, but all agree Bigfoot is no myth, and in the dark heart of the forest he waits, forever watching, his silent footfalls a deadly promise to those who venture too close to the wild. In the fog-laden town of Exeter, Rhode Island, the terrifying tale of Mercy Brown still lingers, casting shadows over history. In the winter of 1892, young Mercy died from a brutal case of tuberculosis, then known as consumption. But even death couldn't silence her story. Not long after her burial, rumours spread like wildfire. Her family, too, was falling mysteriously ill, wasting away as though something sinister was siphoning the life from them. Driven by fear, townsfolk began to suspect that Mercy was no ordinary victim of disease. They whispered that she had returned from the grave as a vampire, a malevolent spirit consuming her family's life essence from beyond. Desperate to end the curse, they resolved to perform a grim ritual, exhuming her body from the frozen ground. When they opened her coffin, they found her shockingly well preserved, her skin pale but intact, her nails and hair seemingly grown, and her heart still containing fresh blood. Panic gripped them. They believed she was feeding, her undead spirit reaching from the grave. In a macabre attempt to end her hold over the living, they cut out her heart and liver, burning them to ash in a desperate ritual meant to destroy her lingering influence. The ashes were mixed into a tonic and given to her ailing brother, in hopes that drinking it would break the deadly connection Mercy held over him. But some say that Mercy's spirit did not rest after this ritual. Locals claim to see her figure drifting through the cemetery at dusk, her pale face visible in the moonlight, watching silently as if waiting for her next victim. Others report a suffocating chill in the air near her grave, an unnatural cold that wraps around them like icy hands. Even today, Mercy Brown's grave remains, a chilling reminder of superstition and desperation. Visitors say that if you stand near her grave at night, you can feel her presence, an overwhelming sense of sorrow and vengeance, a ghostly whisper from a past that refuses to be buried. Her legend endures as a reminder of how fear and folklore can reach out from the grave, grasping at the living with cold, relentless hands.
candle's light, the chilling legend of Bloody Mary comes to life. This haunting spirit, shrouded in mystery and dread, is said to appear in mirrors, summoned by those brave or foolish enough to speak her name. The ritual is simple, yet terrifying. Stand before a mirror, stare into your own reflection, and chant, Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary. Legend warns that calling her name unlocks a portal, a thin veil between our world and hers. As you chant, the room grows colder, the air thickening as if her presence fills every corner, lurking just beyond your vision. Those who have dared to call her say that shadows begin to twist, the flickering candlelight dimming as though something unnatural is drawing it in. And then, through the glass, she appears. A gaunt, hollow-eyed figure with a blood-streaked face, staring back with an expression twisted by agony, rage, or a cruel, mocking smile. Witnesses describe her as a vision of torment. Her long, tangled hair framing a face pale as bone, her eyes glinting with dark intentions. Sometimes she reaches out, her fingers clawing from behind the glass, leaving bloody smears across the mirror's surface. Others claim she whispers secrets of the future, a voice soft and chilling, or even laughs, a sound so cold it chills the blood. But beware, Bloody Mary is said to hold the power to curse, to haunt, or to pull the unwary into her ghostly world. Many believe that once you call upon her, she lingers, an invisible presence following you, waiting in the shadows. And so when night falls and the mirror reflects only darkness, think twice before speaking her name, for Bloody Mary is always listening, waiting for her next victim.
In the dimly lit chambers of Spanish folklore lies a chilling legend about the Castilian lisp, a haunting echo that whispers through the language itself. According to the tale, centuries ago, there was a Spanish king whose tongue bore a strange affliction. His speech was marked by an unnatural lisp, a soft but chilling hiss that crept into every word, bending the sounds like twisted vines. This was no ordinary speech impediment. Many believed it was a curse, some ancient hex upon the royal bloodline. The legend says that the king's court, fearful of invoking his wrath, began to mimic his lisping speech, imitating the soft, eerie sounds that dripped from his lips like poison. They say the lisp spread like an infection, starting with the nobles, then seeping into the commoners' tongues, and finally swallowing the entire land. It became known as the Castilian lisp, a language haunted by a ghostly sound, forever marking Spanish speech with the king's cursed voice. But there are darker layers to the tale. Some say that those who refused to mimic the king's speech met a horrifying end, found with throats slit, their final words etched in blood. Shadows of resistance were snuffed out like candles, until all that remained was the unnatural lisp echoing through Spain. To this day, twisting alleys of old Spanish towns, people claim to hear it. Late at night, when the streets are silent and the air grows cold, you might catch a ghostly hiss, the faint chilling echo of a sound long forgotten but never gone. Some say it's the king himself, his spirit lingering, enforcing his cursed speech on the living. Others believe that the lisp is a specter in the language, an ancient whisper that slips from the mouth of those who speak it, bound to a promise no one remembers making. So, when you hear the peculiar sound of the Castilian lisp, listen closely, for you might just hear a voice from beyond, a phantom king, still whispering, still lingering, haunting the language of his people with every breath. In the hushed corridors of high schools and dark corners of the internet, whispers of Carmen Winstead's name bring a chilling shudder to those who know her story. Carmen was just 16 when her life ended in one of the cruelest ways imaginable, a life stolen by her so-called friends and left to fester in the shadows of a sewer drain. One cold gray afternoon, Carmen's classmates cornered her by an old sewer. Teasing turned into shoving, and a sudden push sent her tumbling into the darkness below. The fall was brutal. She landed neck first on the cold, damp concrete, her final scream swallowed by the depths of the sewer. Her friends, faces pale with shock, ran, never confessing what they'd done. They claimed it was an accident, just a prank gone wrong. But the truth was much darker. Now, they say Carmen's spirit wanders, restless and vengeful, seeking justice for the betrayal she suffered. Those who receive her story in a chain message are warned. If you don't spread this tale, Carmen will come for you, and many who ignore the warning pay a terrible price. There are chilling accounts of those who laughed off the message, only to be found later with twisted necks, faces frozen in terror. Just like Carmen's last moments, some claim to have seen her, a shadowy figure lurking in the dim glow of streetlights, her eyes wide, cold and empty, staring as if from beyond the grave. Others swear they've heard her whisper, a faint ghostly voice saying, "I'm still here." So, when you read Carmen Winstead's story, remember, she is waiting, somewhere beyond the veil, for those who ignore her tale. And if you choose not to share it, don't be surprised if you hear a soft whisper in the dead of night, or feel icy fingers brush your neck, reminding you that Carmen has never really left.
silent halls of Raynham Hall in Norfolk, England, a chilling figure is said to linger. The Brown Lady, a ghostly apparition clad in a faded brown gown. She drifts through the darkened corridors, her presence felt in the sudden chill that fills the room, a sensation so bone deep it leaves an icy imprint on the soul of anyone who crosses her path. For centuries, tales of her restless spirit have haunted Raynham Hall, each story more spine-chilling than the last. The Brown Lady is believed to be Lady Dorothy Walpole, whose tragic end left her spirit bound to the hall. The story goes that she was locked away by her jealous husband, condemned to spend her days alone, and she eventually succumbed to despair and illness, her life extinguished within those very walls. Now her tormented soul lingers, forever roaming the home she could never leave in life. Witnesses describe her appearance as both beautiful and terrifying. She glides through the halls with an ethereal grace, her hollow eyes sunken and empty, her face twisted in a mournful expression. It is said, her eyes are nothing but dark voids, empty of life, drawing those who meet her gaze into an endless sorrow. Her brown dress, old-fashioned and tattered, seems almost to meld with the shadows, making her a faint, flickering figure who vanishes as suddenly as she appears. One of the most infamous sightings occurred in 1936, when photographers from Country Life magazine captured a hazy, spectral figure descending the grand staircase. The photograph, grainy and eerie, shows her drifting down the stairs, her form nearly translucent yet unmistakable. This image became one of the most well-known ghost photographs in history, cementing the Brown Lady's terrifying legend. Visitors and staff at Raynham Hall still report encounters with her cold, haunting presence. Doors creak open without reason, and the echoes of footsteps are heard when no one is there. Some say that late at night, a faint figure can be seen moving slowly down the staircase, her shadowy form slipping away before she reaches the bottom, as if forever trapped in a sorrowful descent. The legend of the Brown Lady endures, a chilling reminder of loss and entrapment. Those who dare to visit Raynham Hall are warned to be vigilant, for a glimpse of her ghostly form is enough to haunt them for a lifetime. In the shadowed streets of Eastern Europe, a terrifying tale circulates, the legend of the Black Volga. This sinister pitch-black limousine appears without warning, prowling through dim alleys and silent neighbourhoods, its polished exterior gleaming like dark glass, an ominous spectre of steel and shadow. Locals say it's no ordinary car, it's a harbinger of fear, a vehicle of doom, and those who glimpse its darkened windows sense an undeniable malice lurking within. Rumour has it that the Black Volga comes at night, its engine running in eerie silence, gliding across cobbled streets as though carried by the darkness itself. Its red headlights pierce the night like two burning eyes, casting an unnatural glow that seems to freeze anyone it catches in its glare. They say the car hunts for children, targeting the vulnerable and unwary. If you lock eyes place with its empty, cold windows, you may vanish without a trace, spirited away into its shadowy depths. Witnesses claim that if you're lucky enough to escape its haunting approach, you'll hear only the faint hum of its engine and catch a fleeting glimpse of its occupants. Figures cloaked in black, faces hidden, eyes glinting like steel. Some whisper that these shadowy drivers are agents of something darker, perhaps the underworld itself, while others believe they are government operatives or supernatural entities with an insatiable hunger for souls. For decades, towns across Eastern Europe have warned their children, avoid the Black Volga at all costs. Stories of vanished friends, mysterious sightings, and close encounters fuel the legend, and parents pull their children close when darkness falls. To this day, some swear they've seen the Black Volga creeping through lonely streets under the veil of night, and if you ever spot its headlights glowing red in the distance, remember, there is no escape from the reach of the Black Volga. In the dark hours of night, when the world falls silent, a chilling urban legend creeps into the minds of those who've heard it. The tale of the black-eyed children. These sinister figures, resembling children aged between 6 and 16, have been reported on doorsteps, in parking lots, along deserted roadsides, and even knocking on car windows. Their pale skin and soulless black eyes, unmistakable and unforgettable. They appear vulnerable, lost, perhaps even in need of help, but there's something undeniably wrong about them. The stories are always the same. A lone person is going about the night when there's an unexpected knock. Upon opening the door, they find two children standing in the shadows, heads tilted down, hands clasped tightly. They speak softly, their voices eerily calm, asking to come inside, pleading to be let in. Please, we're lost, they whisper. We need to use your phone. Let us in. An inexplicable dread seeps into the air, an instinctive warning not to trust these children. Their presence feels wrong, alien. The unfortunate souls who've encountered them describe a rising terror, a sensation so primal it makes the hair on the back of their necks stand. These children will persistently ask to be let in, growing more insistent with each refusal, their voices slipping from gentle to unnervingly demanding. The true horror, however, lies in their eyes, pitch black orbs, empty of any warmth, life, or humanity. Once the blackness of their gaze is noticed, the fear becomes inescapable. Witnesses describe an overwhelming urge to shut the door, to flee, as if staring into those eyes could drain one's very soul. Some unlucky individuals have reported letting the children inside, only to be overcome by feelings of despair and dread. Their homes feel darker, colder, and they report experiencing nightmares and a constant feeling of being watched. Those who survive such encounters claim their lives are never the same, haunted by sickness, misfortune, and a sense of something unseen lurking just beyond their vision. Legend has it that the black-eyed children are not children at all, creatures of something older and darker, a malevolent force cloaked in the innocence of youth. They cannot enter unless invited, yet they possess a strange hypnotic pull, as if they can bend their victims' wills to their own. Those who encounter the black-eyed children speak of them in hushed voices, sharing only vague details, fearful of summoning them back by remembering too clearly. And for those who live alone, beware of unexpected knocks on your door late at night. Because if you ever hear a soft, insistent voice asking to be let in, resist the urge to open the door. Turn off the lights, stay quiet, and pray they leave before you catch a glimpse of their hollow, black eyes staring through the darkness, waiting. In the small, quiet town of Quitman, Arkansas, an unsettling tale haunts the streets. The legend of Jarrell Bettis, more chillingly known as the Dog Boy. Locals whisper that Jarrell was no ordinary child. With an eerie fascination for cruelty, he terrorized the town, his twisted grin and deadened eyes enough to send shivers down anyone's spine. It's said that as a boy, he would capture stray dogs and cats, dragging them into his family's decrepit house, where unsettling cries and strange noises echoed through the night. As he grew older, his dark nature only deepened. Jarrell's obsession with pain extended to his own parents. Neighbours claimed they saw him towering over his elderly mother, his hands clenched, his eyes wild with some unspeakable rage. His father, a once strong man, was seen bruised and frail, unable to escape the torment inflicted by his own son. Shadows would flicker at the windows, figures moving in unnatural ways, and rumours spread that Jarrell was more than a man, something twisted, something monstrous. One night, the house fell silent. No screams, no shadowy figures, only an oppressive stillness. Some say Jarrell vanished, others claim he still lingers in Quitman, watching from the dark, his cold gaze fixed on anyone who dares to remember. And when the moon is high, they say you can feel his presence, a chilling shadow creeping closer, a memory of pure, unhinged malice lurking in the quiet streets of Quitman, waiting, forever haunted